my name is Dawn White and I own Ridgetop Equine Outfitters. I was originally Ridgetop Designs, but I merged both my saddle restoration business and my equine tack business into one. So everything that was Ridgetop Designs is now Ridgetop Equine Outfitters. Today we are going to be talking about saddling your donkey or mule. So this is Chantilly. She is my large standard donkey. She stands 12.3 hands high, and we are going to be working on saddling her and showing you proper placement. I do prefer using my Australian saddles. I find that the down under saddlery Australian saddles fit very well. They have a very flat tree to them. They have a narrower gullet and they have excellent spinal clearance. So this is my down under saddlery long reach endurance saddle. It only weighs 13 pounds, so it's nice and light as well. So when placing your saddle, you want to feel your donkey's scapula. So that is our shoulder blade here. A donkey scapula moves in an up and down position. So if your saddle is too far forward, it's going to be bashing into the tree. Versus a horse moves in a circular position, and that's a different placement entirely. So a donkey or mule, find the scapula. You want to be between 2 to 3 fingers width behind the shoulder blade. So you find that shoulder blade here, and for Tilly, we want to move my saddle up a little bit. And so there is her scapula. I am 3 fingers width behind the scapula before the tree starts. If you're doing flat ground work, I normally use a crupper on my saddle. If I am going to be doing a lot of hill work, or if you ride in the mountains, then I would recommend using a breeching. Saddle breeching hugs the bum, keeps the saddle down and back, versus a crupper, which is this. This goes underneath the tail, and that keeps your saddle back, but it does put a little bit of pressure on the tail. So if you're going to be doing big hills, you don't want to have this pulling on the tail so much. You'd be better off with the breeching. If you're doing flat work, the crupper is just fine. So normally I recommend putting that on first. So you've got your saddle, your crupper goes underneath the tail, and you want this to be snug, but not so tight that you're pulling the tail up. So on Tilly, see, we've got a little bit of play here, so it's snug, but not so tight that it's going to be lifting her tail. So this would be tight here, where it would lift her tail up. This is tight enough that it's not going to be pulling on her tail, and it's not going to be rubbing either. So we don't want to have a drastic change if that saddle were to slide forward. So that gives you a little bit of a better idea there. Obviously we want to put our saddle pad on. So let's go ahead and do that. I do prefer using a non-slip pad. This one is actually an English endurance style. So again, I feel where her shoulder blade is here. I put my pad on. So when I put my pad on, I am right at her shoulder blade. Now I'll go ahead and put my saddle back on here. When you put your saddle on, make sure you tent your saddle pad. Tenting is pulling the saddle pad up into the tree so you don't put any additional pressure on the withers. That one behind me. scapula, make sure that we are right there. So we are 3 fingers width behind. Make sure that it looks good. Go ahead and put your crupper on. Again, snug so that it doesn't rub on the tail, but not so tight that you pull the tail head up. And then go ahead and cinch your saddle. So you want to be about in the middle of the donkey or mule's body. You don't want to be on top of the wither. You want to make sure that this is not tight. If it's pulling up on the tail, it's too snug. Make sure that you're behind the scapula so they have plenty enough room when they're walking, because their scapula moves up and down. And then make sure that your saddle pad is tented up. So that is tacking up your mule or donkey using an Australian saddle and using a crupper. Thank you for watching.